To hem the lining of the skirt, all we have to do is fold it inwards twice to form a double fold. First, we trim off the corners of the seam allowances. This will layer the seam allowances and give us a straight edge to follow. We begin by sewing one line of matching stitches about 1 centimeter from the raw edge. Measure 1 centimeter from the needle and mark it on the needle plate using masking tape. However, this machine has a 1 centimeter guideline on the needle plate. We can sew this stitch line in two different ways. One way is to use matching thread color to mark the first fold line, with regular stitch length setting. If we choose this method, make sure to sew from the right side. We will not be removing this stitch line later on. The second way is to use a basting thread, with longer stitch setting and a lower thread tension, to baste mark the first fold line with a different thread color. If we choose the second way, we will remove the stitch line later on, but we need to sew it from the wrong side. Here we will use the second option. As we can see, the bottom edge of the lining is curved. By sewing a stitch line here, it helps to gather the edge a bit and makes it easier for us to form a double folded hem. We want the seam allowances to stay open and flat as we sew. Finish here without going over the starting point. Now we fold along the basting stitch mark like this and press. We want to form the second fold along this raw edge. Form it like this and press again. Now we press from the right side to flatten both layers. Next, we pin the double fold before sewing by machine. We align the seam lines as we pin. If you like, you can baste the double fold before sewing by machine. To sew the double folded hem, we will use a matching thread and regular stitch settings. Start from one of the side seams and sew like this, about 1 millimeter from the folded edge. Before reaching the starting point, we pull out these two ends from between the layers and tie them off. We pull a bit on the front and back of the hem as we sew. The tension we put on the fabric has to be the same from both sides. This will help keep the machine stitches uniform. To finish, we can stop at the starting point and leave long thread ends to secure by hand, or we can sew over the starting point and reverse stitch to secure the thread. Here we will reverse stitch. We remove these basting stitches. If you have sewn the machine basting mark with a matching thread color, you do not need to remove it. Here we will remove it since we used a different thread color. Next, we will sew the button for the waistline button flap.